Hi there. So I know that you cannot see me, but you could hear me, hopefully. Anyways, so this video basically will cover my teaching style, what the studio is, and what makes me different from others. So to first cover, the way how I teach is basically different from others because I don't follow a methodology book much. Like I use them, in terms of like I'll ask you to buy certain books and certain kinds of I guess like methodology books, for instance, like Alfred RCM books, technique books, teach you stuff from, let's say, dozen a day, things like that. So I'll give you lots of repertoires also. But anyways, so that's basically what I use those books for. But I usually don't follow them in terms of the way how I teach, because the way how I look at it is basically those books. Um, they kind of teach themselves. You just have to read them. So you really don't need me if you have those books and you're just relying on how they teach. But I don't like to go that way where it's just reading off a book to teach you, because you have lots of apps that can do that. They can just read it out loud for you. You don't need me to read that out loud for you. And also you can read it yourself, or like have your parents read it with you. Um or like, I don't know, family members or something, or friends. But like the way how I teach is very different from a lot of people. It's because um I like to adapt to the student, and I believe that the way to teach is basically to center the teaching method to adapt to the student and not have the student adapt to the teaching method. So the way how I grew up, basically, it put me on the spot because um, I had to adapt to the teaching method, and usually that leads to basically me growing up now thinking that I'm somehow not good enough, or something along those lines, like, thinking I got different kinds of like disabilities, or I'm too stupid or something like that. And turns out they're not true. Simply, it's just the teaching method is only suited for one kind of person in that old way of teaching, following the method books. And the way how I like to teach basically ensures that the student does not feel like they are not up to par. The method is basically, it meets the student where they are, and then it follows them in their speed. So let's say their learning speed is, let's say we have to measure them, um, it's going 10 kilometers per hour. Then I gotta put my teaching style to 10 kilometers per hour. And if it's going really fast, it's going the speed of, I don't know, the speed of driving down a highway. So, like 100 kilometers, let's say. So I gotta meet them at 100 kilometers. So that's just the way how I do it, and I adapt to how they learn. So let's say if they are visual learners, I will draw a lot for them, and then I'll handwrite basically um, a lot of things, and then also make things a little bit more entertaining for students, because I know that's the easiest way to get them to learn. Just make it goofy. Like, I don't know, draw staves with different glitter colors and rainbows, like rainbow color staves, or um, turn notes into fruits and then also name them after animals, or make a funny mnemonic. If you saw my other video, you'll know what that is. But yeah, that's just my teaching style, because my method of teaching is basically always surrounding the student and ensuring the student learn. That's the focus of how I teach. And I don't like the usual method, which is basically like, what's it? Most most teachers, they would have the students kind of go through each level of RCM and make them take the exam for each one of them. And basically, if it's not necessary, I find there's no reason to have the student kind of waste their money on it. Um, Exams, they're very exhausting, and then, some people, they don't have the money for all that exams. And all I just want to do is just have them get to the level they want to be and playing the stuff that they want to do and having that freedom as soon as possible. I'm not interested in, I guess, having them pay a ton of money to go to each level of the 11 exams in the RCM, or having them go through every single piano adventure book that exists from level primer to level 6 or something. Nah, my way is more centered not about profiting off the student. It's centered more about getting the student as fast as possible in the most efficient way and effective way to the level that they want to be, and then help them achieve their dreams as easy as possible, so then they can, you know not have to go through lots of struggles, and then they also get to where they want to be and not feel like, they're not up to par or something. They just have to put in the work to practice. And then I try to make that also enjoyable as possible, and or as easy as possible, so they don't feel like everything's a chore. I want to make sure everything seems nice, seems easy, seems doable, and basically not emotionally burdening. Um, I want them to have good memories of music lessons, and generally just add to their enjoyment of music, because they went to piano lessons to, I guess, pursue their enjoyment of learning music or playing music or hearing music, and they just want to maybe grow a skill, or they want to gain you know gain an achievement, or they just want to be able to play their favorite song at will, or any of their favorite songs, or maybe be able to play any songs that they hear in the future on a piano or on any instrument with ease, and just having the freedom to be able to do that without challenge. So, like, that's basically what I want to help them achieve. That's it. Money usually comes in along with that, because um, what I find is basically when you have the students enjoy what they're doing, then they usually stay with you as a student, and they enjoy learning from you. And then you have a very, long term, I guess, relationship, like teacher student, and it's it's more, I guess you could say, it's better than, let's say, some other relationships that some teachers and students have, which is very strict, and then it's very harsh, and then students hate piano. Like, um, a lot of people I kind of grew up around, they kind of saw as that, because they're like, their piano teacher is so strict. They made their students hate piano, or hate learning music, or hate learning in general, just like hate school. So I don't want that for a student. My job is basically to help them achieve their goal, because that's why they're here. It's like, what do they want to do? They see, wow, they love Fear Elise. It sounds so nice. It's a famous piece. They want to learn how to play it. Or they see me write songs, and they're like, wow, how'd you do that? It's like, on the spot. You just wrote that? It's like, that's original? Or, they hear something on the radio, or they hear something on Spotify, or whatever. Um, they want to learn how to play it. Or, like, they hear a TikTok meme song, or something like that, and then they just want to learn how to play it on piano, or play it on any instruments, or learn how to write it. They want to learn how to write music. Um, yeah, so basically, I just focus around that, and I make the lessons just more customized to the student, instead of just doing a cookie cut, following the method book kind of thing. Because I already did that before. I stuck with Piano Adventures, and Little Mozarts, and Alfred in the past, and I kind of grew out of them. So now I'm doing this, which is just no book, just using method books just for like sight reading or something like that, or like once in a while I use them to, teach them or show the students what I want to teach them. Like, for instance, a page 2 or something off things like an all-in-one course piano book. One of my students have it. It teaches you basically the different kinds of pianos out there. So I do use the method books for like that kind of stuff, but I don't use it to teach. Like I don't use it as like my pedagogical method. I just use that to just describe things that are hard to describe without a visual depiction of these things. Otherwise, I just use Google. But yeah. Um. Anyways, so that's basically the little summary of what I do when I teach and why you should choose me as your teacher. And number 2, okay, so my music studio. Right now, I haven't built an actual physical studio yet, but at home, I have this online studio, basically teaching from home, as you can see in my previous videos. And if you're my student right now, you would know um, the at-home environment that I teach from. So I've got 2 pianos here. They're acoustic. At my parents' home, I have some electric pianos, and keyboard, and a roll-up keyboard for like on the go if I'm teaching while traveling or something. Yeah. So like, I usually teach from those settings, and my at-home instruments. Sometimes I have a guitar here. I got actually I have 2 guitars. I have my brother's steel string guitar, and I have my own classical guitar with nylon strings. And then I got a ukulele, 2 ukuleles actually. One's a soprano one, it's like a toy ukulele, and then the other one is a concert ukulele. Also got a harp. Those are pretty useful. That harp is pretty useful. It's a lyre harp. Sometimes I use the lyre harp as like a very portable way to teach the notes, I guess, on a piano, but without the piano, especially the white keys, because that's what that lyre harp is good for, teaching the white keys. It's the C major scale. So, anyways, the studio right now is just online, and these are the instruments that I kind of rely on sometimes. And it's going to be an in-person studio one day. We don't know when yet. It just takes a lot of money, and also it requires me to first get my degrees and stuff like that to make me a more up-to-par teacher. Even though right now I am pretty up to par, but later on it will be even more up to par. And yeah, so that's gonna be on its way, and you can look forward to that. Anyways, that's the end of the video, and I know you've been just staring at the black screen for a while and just kind of listening. Thanks for tuning in, and I guess see you in the next video when there's another teaching video up.